Hi BookTube, happy Friday, Sarah here, and I am coming to you with a Friday Reads. Yay, it's Friday, and it is the Friday of a long weekend. I'm so excited. It is the Canada Day long weekend here in Canada, and, or as one of my friends who sent me this meme today, I should put it up here if I remember to do it. It says something like, Canada Day, the pre-party for the 4th of July, or something like that. I thought it was really funny. But anyway, yeah, it is the Canada Day long weekend, so I am off work on Monday. Always a bonus. I cannot wait. I have no plans for the long weekend other than relaxing at home. Garrett and I were talking, maybe we're going to see about maybe trying to take in some fireworks on Monday, but, you know, it may or may not happen. But anyway, I want to keep this video relatively short because you can probably hear A, Garrett's 3D printer is on, and B, we've got two fans going. It is disgustingly hot. There's a actual air conditioner built into the wall behind me, and I couldn't have it on because it was far too loud for this video. So I want to get this done so I can turn that back on and we can cool it off in here. Unfortunately, we face west, so we get the bright, hot sun in the afternoon. So it's bad. What we really need to try and get are blackout curtains or something for these windows. Once the sun starts to go down, I've noticed over the last few days it's been quite nice, but at this point in the day, like I walked in here tonight after coming from the air conditioning in my car and it was hot. So let's get into what I am going to be reading over this long weekend. I will be finishing off my books for the month of June and then starting new books in July on Monday, but over the majority of the weekend. The first book I will be listening to is my audiobook, obviously, and that is Cowboy to the Core by Maisie Yates. Sorry for the glare. Like I said, this is going to be on audio. I have not started this book yet. I know this is the sister story. If you guys have been reading the Gold Valley series, I think this is book number 6. And this is Jamie's story. She has, I think, 4 or 5 older brothers. So you've kind of had most of their stories, and now it's Jamie's turn, so I'm super excited. It is about her and a professional cowboy bull rider or something like that. I don't know. She's a major tomboy, and I'm very excited about this book, so I am looking forward to it. The next one that I will be reading is going to be a Diana Palmer, and I haven't read a Diana Palmer in probably 5 or 6 years, like long before I was on Goodreads. And this is Unleashed. This is part of the Long Tall Texans series. Book number 50, I think, which is just crazy. Sissy from the Romance Queen of BookTube. I know she is a huge Diana Palmer fan. Don't know if she's read this one yet, possibly, but I'm sure she could tell me. This is probably not a series you would need to read in any kind of order, but again, another cowboy story, so very, very excited about this one. Looking forward to starting that one. And then next up, I want to talk about my Babysitters Club book, because it happens to be next year on my tablet. And I am currently reading Dawn and the Older Boy, of course, by Ann M. Martin. This is book number 37 in the Babysitters Club series. I have issues with this cover. So the premise of this story, I've already started, but I'm about halfway through it, is Dawn meets, now Dawn in this book is 13 years old, and she meets an older boy. He's one of Christy's older brother's friends. His name is Travis, and he's 16. So there's a 3-year age difference. But if you look at that cover, he looks to be about 35, and she's about 25, so not exactly accurate. That's a little creepy. But this one, he's like buying her presents, and he's showing up at her house, or at school to take her out after school, and, you know, of course he drives a car, and of course her parents are a little concerned because he is 16. Now, a 3-year age gap is not that big a deal. I mean, Garrett and I are 3 years apart in age, right? But that age is a lot different when you're 30 and 33, or in our case, 40 and 43, than it is when you're 13 and 16. Do you know what I mean? So this one I always found to be just a little bit creepy because of that whole aspect and the way he kind of manipulates her. But like that's kind of the whole point of the story. So of course I will give you my full thoughts on it when I finish the book for next week. It will not be in my my weekly reviews for this week because I won't get it done. And then the other book I wanted to talk about is one that I decided to pick up and start. Now, I got this book out of the library last fall, maybe, and it's a graphic novel. And I am not a graphic novel reader, really. I mean, I have a couple of the Babysitters Club graphic novels, but those are more for nostalgic factor and stuff like that. There is a Sweet Valley High graphic novel coming out sometime very soon, you guys. I am super stoked. and I do plan on buying it. It's either, I think it comes out in July. If I remember, I'll put it right here what date it's coming out. But it's an all new story, so they're not taking an old novel and making it into a graphic novel. It's an all brand new story, and I think it's going to be a series, but don't quote me. But for those of you who are Sweet Valley fans, or who were Sweet Valley fans, this might be a fun piece of nostalgia for you guys to check out. But yeah, I do own the Babysitters Club graphic novels, again, because they're part of my Babysitters Club collection, essentially. And, but I'm not really a graphic novel reader because I haven't really found anything that has been of any interest to me. Then, I mean, I've heard Karen over at Rather Be Reading talk quite often about a graphic novel series called Giant Days. And I decided, I had got this out of the library a few, like I said, like last fall, like at least 8 months ago or something. And I never got around to reading it, and I ended up taking it back to the library and, you know, whatever. And then a lot of people here on BookTube, I know Shannon at Shannon Riddler and Elizabeth from Lizzie Faye Loves Books talk a lot about Hoopla. Now, I looked at Hoopla when I first started hearing about it, and I'm like, well, they really don't have much. You know, there's no audiobooks and stuff like that. And then I realized you could borrow graphic novels. And they have the entire set. And now this is the first bind up. It's volume 1, excuse me. So it's stories, like it's the first 4 issues of this graphic novel series. And this is adorable. This is right in my wheelhouse. And I've now read the first 2 issues, if you will, in this bind up. And I'm loving them. I am having to stop myself from just sitting and reading through the whole thing, because on Hoopla you're only allowed to borrow 8 things over the course of a single month. So I think this one might count for June. So that means I'll have 8 for July. But they have, I think, like 10 or 12 of the bind-ups. I think there's something like 50 or 60 issues. So that's super exciting. So yeah, but I'm trying not to just fly through these because I want to savor them and really enjoy them. But this graphic novel series, if you're not familiar with it, is about 3 friends, 3 very different girls who are all in university together in England. You know, our main girl, Susan, not main girl, but one of the girls, Susan, she's kind of your normal girl. She's going through some things. I guess she had a bad breakup with a guy before she went to university. And his name is McGraw. And I know Karen always talks about McGraw, and I'm like, yes, I could totally see the appeal with McGraw. And then there's Esther, who I think is my favorite character. She's like a goth, but a goth who would be like a Disney princess, like that very sweet, you know, she's not like, you know, mean or anything like that, but she's super adorable. She's the one on the cover here, and I absolutely adore her. And then there's Daisy, who was homeschooled, and she's got glasses and big frizzy hair, and she is adorable as well. So I am totally loving this, and I'm so happy I finally decided to pick it up. And I'm so thrilled that I can grab these off of Hoopla. The library, the Toronto Public Library, does have them as well. The bind-ups and stuff like that, but of course a lot of them are on hold, whereas Hoopla, you can just borrow it. I don't know if these are on script. I should check that too. But yeah, this might actually have to be a graphic novel series that I go and purchase these issues, because I love it that much so far. And I've only read 2 issues, so like that's fantastic. So I'll be doing my best. I'll probably be reading at least 1 more issue this weekend, but I'm trying to pace myself and only read 1 every few days, because like I said, I kind of want to make them last. But yeah, if you have not checked this out, it's wholesome. I can say that. Like, not, do you know what I mean? It's really kind of something that would be a little bit more for all ages in a way. You know, some of the situations and things like that might be a little mature. Susan does smoke. And the one girl in the second story, Daisy, kind of gets hooked on these pep pills that one of their friends says that it's a cold medicine, because the whole premise of the second story is all of them getting really, really sick. So she takes these pills and she thinks they're making her flu better, but really they're pep pills. So, I mean, you know, you're not going to let little kids read it, but there's, not from what I've noticed, really no swearing or any adult content or anything like that. So that's what I mean by it being a bit more wholesome. Do you know what I mean? So yeah, so really, really enjoying that. And last but not least, because, you know, if I wasn't reading enough already this weekend, Daughter of Destiny by Lindsay McKinnon. This is the first Silhouette Bombshell novel. This is my 40 Years of Harlequin book. I am already about, 60 pages through this? Yeah, about 60 pages through this already. But as usual, I read through the bulk of these over the course of a weekend. And yeah, this is about a woman who is Native American, and she is searching for a tribal treasure, a tribal mask, that she had a dream vision that it is in Australia. So this is mostly going to take place in Australia. And she's a former fighter pilot for the U.S. Navy, I think. She was in the military. I don't know whether it was the Navy or it was probably the Air Force. I'm saying that she flew planes. It was probably the Air Force. But yeah, so far I'm really enjoying this. Lindsay McKenna's writing is really great. If you like military romance, definitely check out this author. She doesn't just write that, but she is actually a former... Now, I like reading author bios. Do you guys do that too when you're reading books? But she served in the U.S. Navy as a third-class mate. She was a weather forecaster, and then she went ahead and started writing books. Like, that is awesome. Talk about knowing what you're talking about when you're writing a book. So yeah, so that is all of my reading for the weekend. But if we're sitting here, we have to open up my next 40 Years of Harlequin Project book. This is 2006's book, because this one is 2005. 2004. Am I skipping one? I'll be right back, you guys. I'm glad I checked, because yes, I had the wrong one. It was supposed to be 2005. So now we've got 2005's book. Garrett is feeding the cat an ice cap from Tim Hortons. No, not an actual ice cap. He just likes to lick the outside, like the condensation off the cup. The cat, not Garrett. Garrett actually drinks the ice cap. So let's see what book we have next, you guys. Ooh, yes. A Harlequin Temptation. Collector's Edition. Her Last Temptation by Leslie Kelly. This was the final Temptation novel ever published. And I just think that's kind of amusing that, you know, for 2004, I had the first bombshell book ever published. And now for 2005, I have the very final Temptation novel ever published. I love this line. I love this line and the Blaze line. I really do miss both of them. Temptation became Blaze. Because I think Temptation was originally through Silhouette. I think it was Silhouette Temptation. Correct me if I'm wrong. No, maybe it was Harlequin Temptation. I can't remember. But these are more spicy stories. Not quite as spicy as the Dare books, which are like the new Incantation or Incarnation or whatever you want to call it. Incantation. I'm pretty sure that's from Harry Potter. But anyway, yeah. So this one says, Cat Sheenan is the wild child of the Sheenan family. But when her family bar closes, she decides it's time to straighten up. She's going to reform, and she's going to start by hooking up with a nice guy. But her resolution goes down the drain when bad boy musician Dylan Spencer walks in, because he's a temptation no woman could resist. Dylan has a secret. Not only is he not a bad boy, but he's not a stranger either. Though Kat doesn't recognize him, Dylan's been in love with her since high school, and for a chance to have Kat where he wants her in his life and his bed, he's willing to be whatever kind of man she wants. Oh, I love it! I love it! Vicki Lewis Thompson praised this book on the back here. Temptation, it says on the back. Just a little bit naughty. So yes, the final Temptation book. Yay! I think this is going to be a reread. I'm pretty sure I read this when it was originally published, and my edition probably went gosh knows where. So I'm glad to have this back to read it. Oh, I'm very, very much looking forward to it. Oh, wow! Oh, this is neat, you guys. So in the back, there's an autograph section. And it's all from different authors who have written for the Temptation line. Darlene Gardner, Julie Kiernan, Don Atkins. I'm like, it's like reading my own yearbook. Like, do I recognize any of these names? Carly Phillips. I know her. Kate Hoffman. Kristen Gabriel. Joanna Rock. She's really good. I think she still writes. I know that there's Leslie Kelly. Lori Foster. We're all familiar with Lori Foster, aren't we? Carla Eggers. A name I can't recognize. Nice. And Vicki Lewis Thompson. Okay, that's pretty fun, you guys. Like, I like that, the whole collector's edition thing. Oh, this is going to be really, really good. I'm looking forward to it. So anyway, last little thing I want to share with you guys, of course, is my crafting. I just have a couple little things to show you. Nothing terribly, terribly interesting. Well, actually, I shouldn't say that. I finished my husband's cross-stitch picture that I've been working on for the past million years, it feels like. But I also finished a sock. So I finished this sock this week. Not that I need them right now, because it's a gazillion degrees. But that's where I was last week, and that's what I finished. So I did the bind off. Someone here in comments asked me last week what bind off I use on my socks, because they said that theirs is always really tight and mine is super, super loose. I thought I'd mention it here for any of you other knitters. And it's called Jenny's Surprisingly Stretchy Bind Off. If you search it on YouTube, I will actually leave a link in the description box below to a video that shows you how to do it. It's really, really easy. When you're doing your bind off, you know how you like knit 2 stitches and then you like pass one over so you're like binding it off. What you do is you do a yarn over between that. So you bind off the yarn over and then bind off the stitch, and it gives you like extra yarn, which makes it extra stretchy. So in case anybody was curious. But yeah, if you ever have any knitting related questions, like to anything that I'm actually knitting, please feel free to mention them in the comments below, and I will try to mention them like for everybody in my next video, just in case anyone else has that question. So of course I cast on the second sock, and I have gotten the toe done. So I'm just starting the second sock, so yay. So that is that. Just a plain vanilla sock pattern, the yarn stripes on its own, obviously. And then the other thing that got a little bit of love this week, sorry, I'm just moving my headphones over here, is my Rhinebeck sweater, my Rhinebeck 2019 sweater. This is Fudge, what's it called? So Faded. This is So Faded by Andrea Mowry. So I am well into the second color now, and now you can really totally see the color change between the 2 yarns, but this is going to be very, very cool. So my first color is up here in this more purple, and then now I'm into the more blue. So there's where I was the last time I showed you guys, where that the indicator is, and that's how far I've gotten. I'm essentially just knitting around and around and around now until I get to the bottom of this sweater, and then I'll put the sleeves on. So it's just a plain pullover, but yeah, I really, really like it so far. So obviously the sleeves are on hold. I'm enjoying this quite a bit. I will leave a link to this pattern in the description box below if anybody else is interested in knitting it. And last but not least, the cross stitch. Let me grab this whole thing here because I finished Garrett's piece and then I started the next one for me. So, here's my little baggie. Yes, I just fold them up and put them in here. I will iron them and all that stuff when we're ready to frame them. We're just going to get the little frames from like Michael's and just like frame them in ourselves. So yeah, so this is Garrett's. Isn't that awesome? I really love the way it turned out. Garrett's super, super pleased with it. So this is part of the World of Warcraft pattern set by the Witchy Stitcher. I will leave a link to it in the description box below. You get a set of 5 patterns. So there's this one. There is the symbols for the Alliance and the Horde. There is one that says home is where the hearth is or something like that. I don't play Warcraft. This doesn't mean anything to me. And then one that says Leroy Jenkins, which is like some like little dragon dude. So yeah, so these are totally fun and I'm really enjoying them. So I finished that one last weekend. And because I finished that, I needed a break from the Warcraft patterns. And I cast on the next one for the Sabbats, which is Yule, because I did Halloween. I skipped Yule because I did not have the fabric that I wanted. And I moved right on to Imbolc. So now I'm jumping back to Yule. So that's what I have done so far. Yule, you can see, it says it right there. And I've started, there's a moon right here. So yeah, I wanted this like gray colored fabric, so I had to order this special online. It's really, really pretty. And my little needle minder says it's red cup season from Starbucks, because the iconic red cups that you get from Starbucks at Christmas. It makes me think of snow and winter, so it's keeping me cool. But yeah, I'm really enjoying this. And I've had several people ask as well where I got this from. This holder is from Michael's, and I got it for like using a 40% off coupon. So it's super fantastic. You can get different sizes. This is like the middle size, I guess, and you can get smaller sizes. You can also get these off of a website called 123stitch.com in case you're interested. But yeah, so that is my cross stitch. So anyway, guys, that is all that I have for this video. Like I said, I want to try and keep it short. I'm starting to melt here, or glow, if you will. Ladies glow. And for the weekend, like I said, not a lot of plans for the long weekend, but I owe you guys a vlog because I totally didn't vlog over the Create Your Own Readathon weekend, and I'm so bummed about that. So I am actually going to vlog this weekend. So there will be a not so surprise reading vlog coming up to the channel next week. So do stay tuned for that. And anyway, that's all I have for this video, you guys. I hope that you enjoyed it. Please let me know what your plans are for the weekend. What do you plan on reading? Have you read any of the books that I've talked about? And if you're in Canada, have a safe and healthy and happy Canada Day. And if you are one of my friends in the US, have a great 4th of July next week. And I'll talk to you in my next video, everybody. Take care and happy reading. Thanks so much for watching, everybody. Bye.